All right, folks. Hope everybody's doing well. And this is not going to be a positive review. You know what? Keep it this way. I'm recording this on Sunday, January the 12th. You probably noticed, well, Jeremy, you uploaded, your Sistas review, your Sistas trailer breakdown, and the Zatima review for episode 15 on the 11th. Why didn't you do one for the 16 yet? That's because I went back and rewatched the episode. Believe it or not, I actually rewatched the episode. Okay, between the time the episode dropped Thursday to me recording this video Sunday morning, I've watched the episode 2 more times and I'm still mad about it. And if you know the video I posted where I said episode 16 crushed my spirit, it had to do with the scene between Zach and Fatima in the bathroom. Because, truth be told, the Leslie stuff, I'm not even mad at that. I'm mad because they just swept the Zach Fatima stuff under the rug. They pretty much just brought, okay, let me dial it back a bit and just make this as concise as possible so I can get to this review, because this is what you want to hear. Remember the way the haves and the have-nots ended, with about 98% of the cast being killed, shot down, choked out, whatever, what have you? Remember how mad you felt and how robbed you felt to make it, 195, 196 episodes until we got to that series finale, and it made you ticked off that we waited for that? That's how I felt during the bathroom scene. It's not necessary. People are like, well, you're mad he didn't cuss out his pregnant, fiance? In my other video, I said partially it's because of that, but there's a difference between Zach saying or quote unquote realizing Fatima was right. But the journey to that point is what pissed me off. He was at like a 12 in episode 15. I'm just going to throw this out here. Do you think the reason Zach decided, you're right, is because that pent up anger and aggression that he had against Fatima and his friends Tony and Connie? Do you think that aggression was put into opening the door to his house, believing his woman was getting freaky with another dude? He took that aggression and put it into that grab and toss of Malachi. And then after the smoke settled and he realized what was going on, that's when he's like, okay. So one could argue that if Zach had not had that moment of anger against Malachi and Leslie, that aggression would have been brought to Fatima in the bedroom / bathroom where they had that discussion. Now, if that had been explained in the episode, I would feel better about the resolution we got. Instead, we have it where, Zach just all of a sudden, Fatima, you're right. Okay, next time, don't tell me. And then we shift gears from Zach being the one needing to be taught a lesson, Zach needing to control his temper, yada, 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 to Fatima's old friend stirring up trouble, and now she's in the hot seat, and Zach gets to sit back like, okay, for once, I'm not the one being interrogated. I'm not the one bringing drama to the table. Literally, it's you, Fatima. I don't feel good about that because the previous storyline wasn't properly concluded. There wasn't an understanding. The only understanding was Zach is wrong, Fatima's right, and we're moving forward as always. You see where I'm coming from? Basically, Tyler tried to show us a puzzle that he said is complete, but it's still missing some key pieces for us not to be able to see the whole picture. Now, if you look at it from that perspective, as opposed to, you hate black women, you hate Fatima, then you understand where I'm coming from. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Now, I still score this the lowest episode of the series, negative 25 out of 10. Bite me. Season 3, episode 16, The Art of Surprise. So, before going into the full review, please take a moment, hit subscribe, Last time I checked, we just hit 288,000. So we're closing in on 290,000. And then after that, onwards to 300,000. So hit that like button, hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell to select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And let's jump into it. So picking up where we left off, Leslie is screaming like, "What is wrong with you? What's going on?" And then Zach realizes, "Wait, who are you? Who are you?" So pretty much the tension mellows out and he learns who Leslie and Malachi are. And my first instinct is, dang, Fatima, first of all, you letting people Zach doesn't know up into his house because you assume he's not going to be there. And look, I am fully aware the reason she had them over so quickly is to help out Angela. All right. That's pretty much what it is. But the thing is, she goes so far as to tell Leslie and Malachi where the spare key is. Now, maybe this is the homeowner in me, but I would feel some sort of disrespect with that because of the fact that Fatima, yeah, it's Zach and Fatima's house. It's not Zach. Look, I'm single. I just became a homeowner. So my interpretation of my house versus our house is going to be different from yours. So please keep that in mind. This isn't coming from a place of hatred or selfishness. It's fact. Zach's name is the only name on that mortgage. That's all I'm saying. But I would feel disrespected to have strangers up in my house, them knowing where the spare key is and everything. It's just crazy. So Zach, says, "Hey, you two make yourself comfortable. Just clean up on the counter where, you had your butt print on there. And I'm going to go up, get ready, refresh myself, and I'll come right back down." And I'm thinking, like, I don't know what's worse. The fact that Fatima would invite these people to Zach's home without his knowledge and tell them where the spare key is without, him knowing about it. But then these two getting freaky under his roof on his counter, dining room table and whatnot. That's messed up. Like, y'all would have been fresh out of the front door with that. All right. So over at Angela's, and this must happen moments after she kicked Bryce out. Bryce, wait, come back in here. So what's up? Okay, I did tell you to get the door alarm system and smoke detectors with the cameras on and whatnot. But here's a glaring issue. That doesn't resolve who was the one that put the camera in that little flower pot on her coffee table. And Lord knows what other kind of hidden cameras are around the house. What she needs to do is get El Fuego. Remember on Sistas, El Fuego from Club Eaton? One of his side hustles is, tech stuff like assistance. So he was hired by Andy to come over to the penthouse and like sweep it for bugs to see if Gary had any sort of listening devices up in there. That's what she needs right now. So long story short, Bryce accidentally did this with the camera stuff. So he was on some point, and look, I've watched this episode 3 times, like I said, and I still feel like I don't completely understand how this went down. So he was on a bunch of freaky porn sites. I'm not kink shaming. I'm just saying this is what he said. And on one of these sites, he received an email stating that, "Hey, we have your passwords, and unless you give us $10,000 in Bitcoin, we're going to, get into all your accounts." So Bryce then changed all the passwords to his various accounts and whatnot. And he did that to protect himself, except for the one account, which was the account made for the security system within the alarms, or the smoke alarms or smoke detectors. And I'm guessing the reason he didn't do this is because, well, that's not my account. Technically, it's Angela's. I just bought the devices for her. And I'm guessing that these hackers or scammers or whatnot took the password, gained access to the cameras within the smoke detectors, and took the footage of Angela doing all this freaky stuff, put it on these different fetish sites, which I hate to say this, but it's safe to assume that these Angela videos are on all the sites that Bryce was on. And that's pretty much how this went down. And Bryce said, look, I'll make some calls and see what I can do. And yeah, I'm still baffled by how this went down. But this seems like a recycled storyline from Sisters. It's just that they made Angela Danny with the Hot Girl Summer, but they've expedited this to the next level, having all of her sexcapades put on social media. Well, basically all these fetish sites. So, yeah. But like I said, this doesn't answer the question about the camera and the little pot on the coffee table and Lord knows where else. So, this will be interesting. Now, everything else in the episode is related to Zach and Fatima. And I'm not going to rant because I don't feel like it in the moment. I will do a separate video on the bathroom scene. So please don't feel like I'm being lazy or shortchanging you. But to be honest here, I'm still annoyed by how this thing played out. But I'll just talk about it briefly and then move on to the other stuff. And if you can agree with that, we're going to get along just fine. Because at this point, it's been 3 days going back and forth with people online, making posts, responding to negative comments. I don't have it in me. Maybe I'll do a live stream in a couple of days, but I don't really feel like getting into it. Zach comes out of the shower. Oh yeah, because Fatima actually gets home, sees Malachi and Leslie kind of like, fixing up things from being, the flipping over kind of thing. And Fatima says, oh, I'll go upstairs. I'll come right back down and we'll, talk and whatnot. So Zach comes out of the shower. She's just sitting on the bed, rolling her eyes as he walks by. And I'm just sitting there like, okay. Because the way I'm looking at it, Fatima was probably going to just allow Zach to sit in jail for another night. Because remember in episode 15, she put Zach on the back burner again to help out Angela. And for all we know, she had never heard back from Ben, who whenever he got out of court, because remember, Fatima up and left work to go help out Angela. But then again, it was 5 o'clock, so I don't know what the timetable is there. But yeah, she probably was just going to let Zach sit in jail another night because she was too busy helping out Angela. Okay. Now, he's like, so you surprised to see me? I don't feel like talking about this, Zach. Strike one. She goes to the bathroom saying she has to pee, and Zach rushes in after her because she doesn't want to talk about it because we have no doors, Zach. Leslie and Malachi are downstairs. And I'm thinking to myself, Fatima, I don't think Zach gives a crap if they can overhear what y'all are talking about because he walked in on them getting freaky on his countertop or dining room table, whatever. So the boundaries have already been crossed. So in the bathroom, and look, people are like, oh, this is funny. I think the comedic aspect, look, Crystal and DeVal's comedic timing is unmatched. I think that DeVal's comedic timing is on a whole nother level, but he sets up the ball for Fatima to get a home run because you have Zach's zaniness and sarcastic nature with the sternness and dry humor of Fatima. Fatima can get in the clapbacks and one-liners too. So don't let my agitation at this scene make you think I don't see the talent and chemistry between these two. Don't ever think that. So Zach makes it clear, oh, you don't want to talk about it? Well, how about you listen to me for a change? And Fatima doesn't want to do it. And it's crazy to me because whenever Zach wants to take a moment and not deal with any drama, when Fatima wants to be heard, she will make Zach, well, not just sit down and listen. She will scream at him to get her point across. But when he wants to have a civil conversation and she doesn't want to have it right now, they table it because she's more concerned about what else is going on. So he pretty much says, you're right. I was wrong. But what else was I supposed to do? You're going to be my wife, the mother of my child. Let the cops handle it. 14 episodes ago, Angela said, we need to call the cops. We need to press charges. We need to have him arrested. No, we can't do that, Angela. I'm not going to say nothing else. Moving on. Fatima does tell a good story though about one time when she was a kid. Her mom, I believe, like over a parking space, this old white dude got into it with her, and she was like, "Mommy, why don't you call Daddy on?" And the reason that she didn't was because my father, I'm guessing this is in regards to Henry, not her, birth father, but her stepfather. He was in the military at the time, and her mom knew that if he found out about it, he would blow a gasket and probably do something resulting in him getting arrested. And and then Zach is like, next time, don't tell me about it, okay? If something like this happens again, don't tell me about it. That's exactly what I was trying to do. I think there's a major difference between some random, bigoted, old white dude, cussing out your mother over a parking spot versus your fiance's addict brother stalking you, robbing you, and assaulting you. What happened to not keeping secrets and lies in the relationship? Zach basically said the next time you get into some stuff, even if you get hurt, don't tell me about it. That's what I got from this conversation. Now, you can go in the comments, you can call me ignorant, you can call me stupid, you can call me a hater all you want to, but that's what I got from that conversation. That's what I got from it. And if you feel like you interpreted it some way, please let me know. Please be respectful, but hey, it's free speech. You can be ignorant if you want to, but whatever. So, let's move on to the rest of the episode. Zach comes down first because, Fatima's still getting freshened up. He checks on Malachi, makes sure everything is cool. It's like, my bad for what happened before. And then Leslie, what's the term here? Spitfire. So, do you act like that all the time? What do you mean? I mean, you just assumed something was going on with Fatima and another man. And it's like, instead of, evaluating the situation, you just went in like a bull looking at a red flag or something. You just charged in here. And Zach tried to break it down calmly about, well, looking at things from my perspective. You look just like my woman. And, well, I walked in, the angle I came in, it did look like something was going on behind my back. So then it gets to the point where Malachi is like reading Zach's like, oh, you don't have any training, do you? You weren't military, nothing? No, I wasn't. Well, yeah, I could tell. What do you mean? Well, the way you tossed me and whatnot, that was very street. It wasn't really like, a trained grapple. So then Malachi gives him a demonstration. It's like, yeah, you caught me by surprise, but if I knew you were coming at me the way you did, I would counter it. So then he and Leslie stand up. Zach does what he did before, and he gets flipped. And then Leslie's gloating, yeah, you see now, baby? Notice how she always says, baby. Yeah, I bet you, yeah. And now what? And then Zach's like, hey, you need to get her. So Fatima comes downstairs. I did like this little moment where it's like, someday you got to teach me that flip. Yeah, I will. And then Fatima's like, no, you don't. What do you mean? Oh, nothing. And I thought to myself, yeah, Fatima doesn't want Zach to know that flip because based on his demeanor, she knows he'll use that flip whenever he crashes out again. So it's like, are you okay, baby? And then Fatima's like, baby. And then Zach's like, yeah, we were waiting for you. And I love the moment that Fatima registered that Leslie called her man baby because it gave off the Belinda alarm. Like, wait a minute, is my friend checking out my man? What's going on here? And I love how the rest of this episode, Zach is on the sidelines here. He's just kind of assessing the situation because once the ladies take a moment to set the table, he and Malachi have a conversation because Fatima's like, oh yeah, it's getting late, so I decided to get delivery. Basically, you're vegan and you like all the meats. Yeah, you remembered. And it's funny how she said all the meats. I don't know why, but Zach has a conversation with Malachi, basically like, so how long you known each other? About 20 years? Oh, 20 years. Okay. And then it's like, what's wrong? What do you mean? You did a background check on me, huh? Because he says he's FBI. And then Zach's like, Well, Malachi's like, yeah, and I know, hey, some people have a past. Like, I made mistakes and whatnot too, but I didn't go to jail or anything like that, but I turned my life around, and I'm not judging you in the present, Zach, based off what you did in the past. I'm just glad that Fatima's happy. And then we shift over to the kitchen, and Angela calls Fatima wanting to know any updates on the situation. And, it's like, look, Angela, I just got home. Malachi and Leslie just got here, and I'm going to bring it up, so see what we can do. And Angela's like, well, hey, hurry up. And I'm just like, Angela, this isn't the kind of thing that could be done at the snap of a finger. This is a very delicate situation. Like, the people involved have to check to see how many sites you're featured on. They probably got to do like facial recognition scans, then determine the source of the hacking or whatever. So this isn't something that can be done at the, in an instant. Like, just accept the fact that your scandalous ways are online, and well, go from there. Now, Leslie and Fatima have a conversation, and very judgmental. The way that Leslie was Belinda 2.0. Essentially, the way that Belinda was throwing shade at Zach in his past to Fatima in that episode was the same that went down here. Well, I don't like it, convicted of robbery, and, I saw that video of him beating up his brother. Yeah, that wasn't in the past. Well, the distant past, that was recent. And then the one thing I will give Fatima some credit for as much drama and grief and stress that she gives Zach, she will defend her man when somebody else tries to judge his character, which I find very interesting. Basically, where it's like a sibling thing. Well, I'm not talking about incest, but a sibling thing. It's kind of a trope, not just in entertainment, but in real life, where, a sibling can poke fun and do whatever to, their sibling because, that's how it is. But if anybody else tries to say or do something to their sibling, like, hey, nobody messes with them but me, So Leslie's like, all right. Basically, Leslie had a, well, if you like it, I love it response when Fatima says she's good. Now, we shift over to the dinner table, and this was probably my favorite scene of the episode just because of Zach. Like I said, he's just really laid back, and I like it because not only because he's suspicious of a potential dynamic between Fatima and Malachi, but the fact that he's kind of on the back foot right now because Leslie and Malachi did their background check, and they know way more about him than when he knows about them, So, Leslie is a bit tipsy because she's had a few too many drinks. And loose lips. I mean, what kind of a running gag during the early to mid seasons of Sistas was that the mild-mannered, meek Sabrina, whenever she had a couple of drinks and got tipsy, she would start spilling secrets, because that was a annoying yet somewhat unique trait of hers. Because typically during a sister circle gathering, she would just be like the supportive gal pal in the corner smiling or, backing up somebody's feelings. But whenever she had too much to drink, she would just start spilling secrets and whatnot. Like if Danny told her something, she would tell everybody. Or when Andy told her something, or if she knew something about Zach, she would tell it. Leslie was just there. I don't think Bounty made enough paper towels since the creation of the company to clean up all of the tea that she was spilling. Leslie being messy, I think she did more damage than Belinda did in season 1. And she revealed that, girl, I slept with your man way back when in the day. So, first of all, Leslie talks about the fact that Malachi and her were a thing in the past. And I just love, really? That's shocking? Because she doesn't just blurt it out. She kind of eases into it. The fact that, oh yeah, you still remember a lot about us, uh-huh. And Zach, y'all need to know there shouldn't be secrets in relationships. And she goes on to tell Zach, look, Malachi and Fatima were in love. And, Fatima my girl, but me and him were creeping, and, she eventually caught us. And that was one of the reasons why we shipped overseas, and we lost contact, we lost communication. Those lines were severed. But come to find out that despite the fact that I ended up with Malachi, he would always talk about Fatima. He would always compare me to Fatima day in and day out. Even got to the point where he started making me, look like her, dress like her, talk like her. And Zach is just like sitting there soaking it all in, like, oh, for once, my ass ain't the one bringing the drama to the table. Fatima, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Spotlight's on you. And I got to give Fatima credit, because the entire time Zach is just looking like a kid. Yep, Fatima, you wanted me to learn my lesson about crashing out, controlling my temper. Let's see how you deal with it when you're in the hot skillet. Let's see if you don't crack under pressure. So Fatima, you could tell she's trying to get Leslie to shut up. But the more she does, the more Leslie talks. And Fatima's like, So then it gets to the point where Malachi is trying to stop, but he doesn't really do much. And Leslie goes, you know what? He said that if he had another chance, he'd get back with you again, because he still loves you. And I know y'all been talking too. What? No, we haven't. Well, how about this picture of you and him? You were coming out of his hotel room last week, and it shows a picture of these two in bed together. Zach is like squinting his eyes like, that kind of does look like you. And that was in the episode. And Leslie's like, what do you think about Zach? What are you going to do, Zach? And I don't know what this is. Either this is real. Leslie, though, she was coming off as if she was trying to poke the bear. Not necessarily to piss off Fatima, but to see if Zach would have a hot-headed reaction like he did against his brother, and when he saw Malachi and her getting busy in his house. So it's either a test, and this is fate, or she's indeed trying to screw up Fatima's relationship. Because even though she was the one who did her girl dirty by creeping with her man and stealing him, she probably harbors a deep resentment towards Fatima, because for the past, 10 plus years, she's been in a relationship where she's been forced to be molded into Fatima. So it's like, my relationship is trash because of the love my man or your former man still has for you. So I'm going to come up here and ruin your relationship. I think one of the deepest cuts that she made was when she told Zach, hey, you ain't nothing but a stand-in. You ain't nothing but a shadow of Malachi. That's what you are to Fatima. Just like I'm a shadow or a stand-in for Malachi for Fatima. And that's really messed up. And when you think about it, she might be right. You look at Zach and Malachi side by side, especially Zach from the early seasons of Sistas, they kind of do look alike. So from there, you remember how Fatima used to say that he has potential. I mean, the running theory now amongst the fan base is, what if Malachi is the same roughneck from Fatima's old neighborhood that got her knocked up in high school and she had the miscarriage by? But you would have to combine Sistas and Zatima continuity, and you know how loose that is, because in Sistas season 6, Zach learned about Fatima's high school miscarriage, but I don't think he's ever learned about the fact that Ian made her get an abortion. So yeah, it's kind of wonky, but I did a separate video talking about this, so make sure you check it out. But with that being said, that is my breakdown of the Art of Surprise. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.